going to create a house. We've been doing like a dog house and a schoolhouse, but I'm going to show you really quickly what we've been doing isn't really quite architectural design. It's kind of faked. Not that it doesn't matter, but I'm going to show you how to make this better. So open up a new file. I'm going to get rid of Derek here. I've been calling him Steve, but I found out his name is Derek, and I'm just going to delete him. And I just want to show you something. You don't have to do this part. We've been drawing, rectangles and shapes, and we've been pulling them up in the air. All right, and we've been kind of, in some cases, we've been making roofs out of them by doing this and pulling them up. All right, and that's great, and it looks like a house, right? But if I actually move around this shape and zoom in, particularly if I look up underneath, I'm actually going to turn on the X-ray vision. You don't have to do this either. But these house walls are actually paper thin, and your house walls are not paper thin. They have a thickness to them. They're made out of boards or they're made out of bricks. So in real life, those are not paper thin things. So I will turn that X-ray vision off. All right, so we're going to learn how to create a layout for a house. This is going to be a house with an attached garage. It's going to have a very small backyard and a very small front yard that we're going to build a deck onto later. So I'm going to walk you through some of those dimensions and things. We're going to start by creating a rectangle that is going to be the footprint of the house. So we're going to turn on our rectangle tool. We're going to place it in the origin down here where the green, red, and blue arrows go together. I'm going to click and let go and move in a direction. And the dimensions that I want to put in are 60 feet, so that's 60 apostrophe, comma, that means by 38 feet. So 60 by 38. Whoops, of course I moved and now it's gone. So 60 by 38 feet. 60 feet by 38 feet. Enter. Okay? And you should end up with a shape that looks like this. And depending on how far zoomed in and zoomed out you are, it may look longer or fatter or whatever. If you want to actually make sure, and you may want to do this before you get started, you want to make sure that you're actually the right size. Go to View, Tool Palettes, Large Tool Set up here in the top menu bar, and then find your little 3 icon right here, not the tape measure, but we're going to use that in a minute. Click on it, and I'm going to zoom out so you can see, and just check your corners from here to here and make sure that that side is 60 and then this side of your rectangle is 38. Okay, so you can see that my measurements are correct. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you how to use this tape measure tool. So it's up here in the bar, or you can find it in the tool palettes over here. So I'm going to click on the tape measure tool. The tape measure tool does not actually measure dimensions. What it does is it provides you with these sort of dotted lines, these guidelines they call them, so that you can use them for reference. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean by that. We need a garage that's going to come off of this side of the house. Okay, and we're going to build it all in this shape, and then this side's going to be the rest of the home. So if you take your tape measure tool and move over to the midpoint, you'll see a little blue dot, the midpoint of this wall, okay, and click it and start moving in this direction, you'll see this dotted line, this dashed line start to form, okay, and you can see that as I'm moving, it's keeping a nice straight red line, okay, lets you know that I'm headed in that direction, okay. I could do the same thing by going up and I'd get a blue line, okay, but we really want the red line because we want it to be on this surface, okay, and it's showing me if I stop how far away we are, so that's 19 feet 3 5/8 inches, but just like everything else in SketchUp, we can tell it a certain distance. So I'm going to tell it 24 feet. So 24 apostrophe enter. Okay, and it gives us that dashed line out here. And again, if you really wanted to make sure, you could make sure that it is in fact 24 feet. Okay, but you don't have to do that unless you're concerned and you're not sure that it actually is 24 feet. Okay. Now from the back, I'm going to use the tape measure tool again. We're going to do that a lot. I'm going to find the midpoint on the back line, click on it and move forward, and I'm going to type in 12 feet, enter. And then I'm going to do from the front line with the tape measure tool, midpoint, I'm going to click, I'm going to head back, and I'm going to do 6 feet, enter. Okay, so we end up with this shape. And I'm going to rotate up here so you can see it. This will be the layout of our house. This, where I'm hovering over here and moving, that will be the garage. And this area will be the house. So I'm going to show you these lines, these dashed lines, are not actually lines on our drawing at all. They're just guidelines. So in order, if we want to make those lines, we actually have to trace them with the pencil tool. So I'm going to grab the pencil tool, and I'm going to start over here. And if you look, when I hover where the actual line is there, and then the dotted line, there's a little red X that says intersection. Okay, so I'm going to click there. I'm going to move inside the shape here and go to this intersection right here where you can see. Okay, click here and then move straight up and click. I'm going to move, even though there's a line here, I'm going to move from that point all the way to the corner. Click. I'm going to move almost all the way down. And I'm going to actually move my screen so you can see. Okay. I'm going to move almost all the way down, but I'm going to move down to this intersection with the dotted line here. I'm going to click there. Then I'm going to move to the left to where these two intersect. And then I'm going to move down to the bottom. Okay. And I'm just moving my screen around. You probably won't have to do this because you probably didn't go quite as far away as I did. And then I'm going to trace this line here by clicking here. I'm not holding, I'm just clicking and then clicking the other point. And then I'm coming back to here where we started. And what that will do, I'm going to hit escape. What that will do is if I click on my select tool, if I click the middle, you should see, oh, see, I missed a line. Okay, this area should be shaded, but this little area should not. That will be the front lawn. So I'm going to retrace just that spot. Okay, and so this area here should be separate from this area and this area. And just to make sure that we know what we're talking about, I'm going to grab the paint bucket tool and I'm going to go to vegetation and I'm going to make this look like a lawn. So I'm going to put a front lawn here and a back lawn there. Okay, this other area here is going to be your house, so I want to make sure that that's what we're all talking about, the same thing. This area out here is going to be your garage. This area up here is going to be your house. Okay, so now we have the basic footprint. Okay, and I could pull this up, but I'm not going to have you do that because, whoops, I'm not going to have you do that because, again, we would just end up with those paper thin walls that I showed you at the beginning. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to put in some more guidelines so that we can have some more walls to work with. Actually, sorry, we're not going to do that just yet. We're going to do that in a minute. I need you to find the offset tool. We used it in the schoolhouse to make the roof. It's up here or it's down here, but it's the arrow with another thing like a circle with another circle pulling out of it. So I'm going to click offset. I'm going to hover in the middle of our area here that the house is going to be. I'm going to click. I'm going to move around and you'll see this shape come up. Okay, we want to have our wall thickness, the thickness of the walls around the outside of this building to be 8 inches. So I'm going to type in 8, enter. Okay, and then you get this shape. And now, and you're not going to pull this up yet, but I'm just going to show you. Now you can see that the walls that we have actually have thickness. We could pull them out and we could see that they have thickness. Okay, but we're not doing that part yet. Okay. Now we need to make, the reason we're not doing that is because we want to have inside walls too. We don't want one giant room, house / garage, open room. We want walls there, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tape measure tool again, okay? And this time I'm going to start from the midpoint of this line down here near the front lawn, okay? I'm going to click on it. I'm going to start moving in this direction. I'm going to type in 10 feet, enter. Okay, and that gives us the line there. All right, and then I also need one coming from this side. So I'm going to grab here. I'm going to click, and I'm going to start moving in this direction. And I'm going to go with 16 feet, enter. Okay, so we end up with this. All right, so just so you know, I'm going to start labeling some things here with the 3D text tool so that we know what these rooms are. All right, so I'm going to find the 3D text tool. It's on my big tool palette, which hopefully you still have open. If you don't, you can go to View, Tool Palettes, Large Tool Set. All right, and I'm going to go way down here to this white 3-dimensional A. Okay, I'm going to click on it, and it's going to ask me to enter some text. I'm going to enter the word garage, okay, and then I'm going to come down here to the word place and click it. I'm going to put the garage label right here because this is going to be the garage, this space here. And that's kind of small, so I'm going to grab this tool here, which is scale, and then you can see that there are these green boxes. If you grab a corner one, you can stretch it so that you can see it a lot better, okay? And then I'm going to grab the move tool and grab it and click again to put it down, okay? All right, so that's going to be the garage. I need another room label, so this is going to be the bathroom. I'm just going to write bath because it's quicker, and hit place. And I'm going to put the bathroom there, make it bigger, and take it from there by dragging, okay? And this is going to be the bathroom. Then we're going to have this. This will be the bedroom, so I'm going to type in bedroom and place it here. I'm going to put the bedroom there, and again we'll make that bigger, okay, and I'll place it. Okay, so this will be the bedroom, and then I'm going to have a living room. I'm going to do something a little different with the living room. I'm going to place the text, but it's going to come into this. It's going to come into both of these grids. So I'm going to make it bigger, and then after I make that bigger, I'm going to move it into place. And when I'm moving with the move tool, you see this blue box around my letters. This will come around lots of 3D objects. If you hover, you'll see these little red plus signs, okay? If you click on one of those plus signs, your stuff changes so that you can rotate. So I'm going to click on one of those red plus signs and start moving, and you'll see that I can swing the living room label so it's going the other way because I want to know that that whole area is the living room, okay? And then down here we'll do a similar thing for the kitchen, okay? Kitchen. Alright, I'm going to put that over here and make that nice and big so we can see that. Okay, now we know our way around. So we're going to click on this and move that way. Awesome. Okay, so now we know where we're putting things, but there are no walls between the garage and the living room. There are no walls between the bathroom and the bedroom, and there are no walls between the bedroom, bathroom, and kitchen. That's a problem. It's kind of not very private. So we're going to start by clicking on the line tool because we want to separate the garage and the rest of the house. So you're going to have to do a lot of zooming in and zooming out. So my tip for zooming in is to move your mouse to where you want to zoom in on and then drag your fingers across the trackpad to zoom in. Okay, you can use this magnifying glass tool up here. Some people really like that, and people use that to zoom in and out. You can also do that by clicking and dragging. Yeah, so that's how that works. So we're just gonna go to the garage, where the garage and the house should be separated, and we're going to trace the dotted line. I'm going to get in here real close, and I don't want to trace from where the grass is. I want to come out here just a little bit and go to where the intersection is. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to zoom out so you can see where we're headed, and now I'm going to move and I'm going to go along this dotted line. I'm not dragging my mouse, I just clicked and let go. And then I'm going to come down here to this intersection, and you want it to be a nice green line, okay? That means it's nice and straight, okay? So, so that's there, but this wall needs thickness just like the outside walls need thickness, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the tape measure, okay? And I'm going to grab the midpoint of that line. It could also end up being the intersection because it's the same point. I'm going to click it, I'm going to head towards the garage, and I'm going to type in 6 for 6 inches. Enter. Okay? And actually, yes, that's fine. So I'm going to do 6 for 6 inches. Okay? And I'm going to trace just that line. Okay? Again, I don't need to get out here. I just need to get where this line is here. So I'm going to go down here. Okay? And I'm going to trace up to there. Okay? Now, we're going to do a lot of this kind of tracing. So the other dotted lines, like the dotted line that goes between the bathroom and the bedroom, I'm going to trace that all the way down. I'm going to start up here, okay, on the inside part of the wall we made on that intersection. I'm going to click there, zoom out, zoom back in, okay? And then I'm going to click there. So I end up with a line straight down between the bathroom, bedroom, and the living room, kitchen, okay? And we'll put the 6-inch walls in a minute. I'm going to do the same thing for the line between the bathroom and the living room. I'm going to move that so you can see that better, okay? And do a line tool, click there on that intersection, and I'm going to go straight across to here, okay? So again, not getting to the outsides, okay? And then for now, that's all I want for those. So I'm now done with this dashed line, just so you know, that's cutting up the living room and kitchen. So I'm going to just use the eraser tool. I'm going to make sure my circle on my eraser is lined up on that and click it, and then it's gone, okay? So now I need to make these walls have a thickness. So I'm going to use my tape measure tool again, and let's grab the midpoint of the bathroom wall between the bathroom and the living room. I'm going to click it and head towards the living room. I'm going to type in 6, enter, okay? And that gives us a wall there. I'm going to grab the midpoint of the wall between the kitchen and the living room. I'm going to click it and move to the left and do 6, enter, okay? So now you can see where our thicknesses of our walls would be, okay? So now I'm going to grab my pencil tool again. I got to do more tracing, okay? I'm going to start between the bathroom and the bedroom. Again, I'm going to start on the inside of the wall, not the outside, okay? And I'm going to start at that intersection, click there, and then I'm just going to go all the way down, and just make sure you're on a straight line here, all the way down to this intersection down here between the living room and the kitchen, okay? I'm going to do the same thing over here. Now this is tricky, and I'll show you where to start. If I go over to this corner between the bathroom, living room, and garage, there's a whole bunch of lines here, okay? So first I'm going to grab my eraser tool, and I'm going to get rid of these 2 lines we used to make the garage wall, just the dotted lines, okay? And actually the dotted line that we put, the top dotted line between the bathroom and the living room and the bedroom and the kitchen, we can now delete that now because I've traced that, okay? So now what's left is this line right here, okay, separating the bathroom and the living room, the kitchen, and the bedroom. So I'm going to grab my pencil tool, I'm going to move over by that corner where the garage is, okay? And the garage wall is thicker over here because it's out. This is an outside wall, so I want to make sure you're grabbing right here, this intersection right here, okay? Do you see where I am? Here's the grass, here's the bathroom, part of the bathroom wall, here's going to be the other part. So I'm going to click here, I'm going to zoom out, go all the way across, and stop it right at the intersection where it's the inside of the wall, okay? So I'm going to do that. Now I can delete this dashed line, and now I'm at a place where I can delete these dashed lines up here too. In fact, I think all the dashed lines will be gone, even this one, okay? So now we have what looks like walls for each of our rooms, and it would be great to pull all these up at once. So don't do this step, but I want you to watch me do it because I want to show you what's going to happen. I'm going to click, I'm going to hover over the garage wall, okay, and I'm going to click on it, and you can see when I go to pull up, these walls in the middle don't come up with me. Well, that's because there are lines that intersect them. You see here, there's still some lines intersecting. So now we have to go through, and it's kind of a pain. You're going to go through and you're going to delete with the eraser, you're going to delete any of the little lines that cut the walls off from each other. Okay, so I'm talking about like here, okay, and here, all right, and I'm going to go around in a circle and look up, there's another one here, okay, and I'm zooming in and out to look really carefully, and here, and there's a bunch in the middle here where all these lines cross each other, so I'm going to do it here. It's like 4, so I'm gonna have to zoom way in to make sure I only get what I want. Here, here, and here, okay. There's one here, and there's one up here, okay. And then I will know if I've done it correctly because when I grab the push-pull tool this time, and I click on the outside wall of the garage, and I click, and I start moving up, all of the walls will come up together, okay. So that I will have you do. I'm going to have you grab the wall with the push-pull tool, and I'm going to have you move up in the air, and I'm going to have you type in 10 feet, enter. So that's 10 apostrophe. Okay, so we're doing 10-foot high walls, which will give us a ceiling above that. Okay, all right, so now if I take my tools and look around, you can see that each room has a label. Each room has walls separating it from each other room. Okay, we don't have any weird lines coming up the wall. If you do, that means you didn't delete one of the lines going through. There is a little weird spot here, and that is just because of the difference of the thickness. In fact, we can take care of that. I'm going to use push-pull, and I'm going to grab just that and push it, and I'm going to move until I'm going to move out to the right, okay, and then when you see that, you'll see that it's been flattened, okay, and I can actually take an eraser now if I want to and erase this line, okay. So that just kind of cleans it up a little bit. All right, so now we need doors. None of these rooms are accessible. You can't get to any of the rooms. All right, so I'm going to show you how to make the door between the living room and the garage. The way we're going to do that is we're going to start by making the door frame and then punching a hole where the door will be. So we're going to use the rectangle tool to do that. Okay, so I'm going to click on the rectangle tool, and then I'm going to zoom in on the wall between the living room and the garage where the floor and the wall meet each other, that line. You should get a red button, little red dot that says on edge. Okay, I'm going to click there and I head up and to the right. Okay, and then I'm going to type in the size of the door that I want. Okay, and I'm going to type in 3 feet, comma, 7 feet, enter. Okay, and I should get a rectangle going like this. You may end up getting a rectangle that goes in this direction, okay? And if you do, you could just flip the dimensions around, 7 feet, comma, 3 feet, okay? But hopefully you get the same one that I did, all right? Now we're gonna make the door frame around this door, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna do that. So we're gonna use the offset tool for that. So up here beside push-pull is offset. I'm gonna click there. I'm gonna click in the middle of the doorway, so where it's shaded here with the dots, I'm going to click, and I'm going to move up and to the right again so that it starts to make a frame around the door, okay? And I'm going to want 3-inch wide door frame, so I'm going to type in 3, enter, okay? And so I get this nice door frame. Now I do want to show you, and you don't have to worry about this, but I do want to show you what this does underneath, because we're seeing 3, okay? We're seeing 3 sides to this. Whoa, that's really hard to see. We're seeing 3 sides to that door frame, but there is another side hiding underground here, just so you can see. That doesn't bother me. We're not going to spend any time underground on this house, but if it bothers you, you can get under there with the eraser tool, I think. Let's find out. And I could erase just that line, and we'll see what we get on top. Did it mess anything up on top for us? It did not. Okay, so you could choose to do that if you want to, but that's not an expectation. All right, so now we need to pull this door frame out because it's just flat against the wall. And if you look at an actual door frame, it comes out like maybe an inch. So I'm going to use the push-pull. I'm going to hover in this door frame, not the doorway, but the door frame that we just made. Okay, I'm going to click. I'm going to drag it towards the living room. Not drag, sorry. Click and move towards the living room. And I'm going to type in 1, enter. Okay, which gives us a 1-inch thick, and if I zoom way in, you can see it has a thickness. Okay, 1-inch thick door frame. Okay, the other thing I need to do, if I move around so that you can see into the garage, is that there's no door or door frame. There's no doorway or door frame in the garage at all. Okay, so we're going to use a little trick here. Okay, I basically want to copy this door frame into there. So I'm going to use the push-pull tool. I'm going to hover over the door frame again, but this time I'm going to tap on the Option key. We've done this trick before. We get a plus sign, if you look. Okay, we get the plus sign on our push-pull tool. And so I'm going to use that and click on it, and I'm going to start moving towards the garage, like really exaggerated movement towards the garage. And I'll even move the view so you can see that a little better. Okay, hovering here, plus sign is on because I used the Option tool. Whoops, actually I went back a step. Hang on. There we go. Tap on my option key. I've got the plus sign. I'm going to click on this surface. I'm going to head towards the garage, okay? And obviously we don't want a tunnel, okay? But how far do I need to go? If I made a 1-inch thickness on this side of the wall itself we drew as 6 inches, and then on the other side of the wall we need it to go 1 inch. So if we add that all together, 1 inch plus 6 inches plus 1 inch, 1 plus 6 plus 1 is 8. So I'm going to type in 8, enter, okay? And if I've done that correctly, and you've done that correctly, you should be able to check in your garage and see a 1-inch thick frame coming out, okay? So now I'm going to go back in the living room looking towards the garage, and I'm going to do this next step. I'm going to use the push-pull tool again, but this time I do not want this plus sign, so I'm going to tap my option key on my keyboard so that there's no plus sign there, okay? And this can be done a couple of ways, so I'm going to try to show you one way and hope that it works great, but if it doesn't work that great, I'll show you the other way. I'm going to click on the doorway, because now we're trying to punch a hole here. I'm going to click on the doorway, and I'm going to push-pull it towards the garage. Hopefully you get what I'm getting. Do you see this blue diamond on the screen, and your screen gets a little like weird wavy lines? If you click there, you should end up with a hole where the garage is. Did mine work? Yes, because I can see the word living room right through the doorway, and I can see the word garage right through the doorway. Now I'm going to back up a step. If it worked for you, great. I'm going to back up a step. If yours didn't work that way, here's another way you can do it. Line it up so you can see the top of the wall between the garage and the living room. Use your push-pull tool and click the middle of the doorway. And then the little red arrow on top of the push-pull tool is really helpful. You can actually line it up with the surface. Like I can line it up with the top of the M over here. You see that? But I'm going to line it up with the wall, where the ceiling would be, and click here, okay? And it gives me the same thing, all right? So now, for the 4, so this is what I'm expecting for the 3, okay? For the 4, I would like you to add a closet to the bedroom, maybe here, just to give you some idea. Closets tend to be, and you might need to move your words around or shrink them, okay? Closets tend to be 24 inches wide to hang clothes, okay? And we were using 6-inch thick walls. So figure out how you're going to do that there, okay? Also, some other things in this house, obviously putting some doorways between the bathroom, living room, kitchen, and living room, bedroom. Those would be good, okay? And then one other challenge for you is to create a garage door on the outside, just an open hole, just like this door frame here, okay? So the question I have for you is, how are you going to center the garage door and show me that it's centered? You can use these dimension tools after you're done to show me that 24-foot wall here in your garage. How did you, so I want to see that you centered your garage door. So you're going to have to use a little bit of thinking, a little bit of math skills, although it's just subtraction and a little bit of division, to do that. So make sure you label your work with the A tool here, Mr. Bailey, and make sure you place that somewhere in your drawing. I'll place mine out here in front of the front lawn, because I know later we're going to use the front lawn. And ta-da! And then make sure you take a nice picture so that I can see through your doorway. Okay, so I'm going to tilt it so I can see a little bit through the doorway. There we go. That wouldn't be so bad. Okay, something like that. All right, so I can see your room labels. I can see your door. You might decide to take 2 pictures just because. All right, and so good luck, and hopefully you try the 4, because it really